Welcome back to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are diving deep into a subject that challenges the very laws of geography and hydrology. We are going to explore one of nature's rarest and most fragile paradoxes. I want you to start by imagining yourself standing in the heart of a vast desert system. All around you are undulating waves of silica sand, a blinding white ocean frozen in time. The sun is beating down, heating the grains until they shimmer. By all logical rules of nature, this place should be arid. Sand is the ultimate sieve. If you pour a bucket of water onto a beach, it vanishes instantly, filtering down to the water table below. This is why most sand islands and dune systems are dry on the surface. But then, in this landscape designed to drain water away, you crest a dune, and you see something impossible. Lying before you is a body of water so blue, it rivals the sapphire depths of the ocean, yet so clear you can count the grains of sand on the bottom, 10 meters down. It is cool, fresh, and sweet. It has no river feeding it, no stream draining it, and remarkably, it sits high above the groundwater table, suspended like a magic trick on top of the porous sand. You are looking at a perched dune lake. To the Butchula people of Kagari, these lakes are known as the eyes of the land, watching the sky. To ecologists, they are windows into the past, ancient chemical vaults that store the history of climate change. Today, we are going to explore the science, the stories, and the secrets of these rainwater ecosystems on sand. From the rainforest fringed jewels of Australia to the ephemeral lagoons of Brazil and the crystal basins of New Zealand. To understand why a perched dune lake is so special, we have to look underground, beneath the white silica sands. The secret to a perched lake is a geological process that takes thousands of years and requires a specific recipe of wind, vegetation, and time. It starts with the forest. Over millennia, trees and shrubs like the scribbly gum and paperbark tea tree grow on the dunes. When they die and decay, they release tannins and humic acids. Think of this like steeping tea leaves. Rainwater washes these acidic compounds down through the porous sand in a process called podzolization. This strips away iron and aluminum oxides from the grains. Eventually, this chemical cocktail hits a depth where it accumulates. The humic acids bind the sand grains together with the aluminum and iron, hardening into a concrete-like, impermeable layer, known to geologists as indurated sand, but known to locals as coffee rock. This layer acts as a saucer. Because this saucer is often well above the regional groundwater table, the lake that forms inside it is said to be perched. It is completely cut off from underground aquifers. Its only source of water is the rain that falls directly into it or runs off the surrounding dune slopes. It is important to distinguish these from other dune lakes. You have window lakes, which form when a depression is so deep, it dips below the water table, exposing the groundwater like a window. You have barrage lakes, formed when a moving dune blocks a watercourse. But the perched lake is the rarest breed, a rainwater collector high in the sky. If these lakes have a global capital city, it is undoubtedly Kagari, formerly known as Fraser Island, off the coast of Queensland, Australia. This World Heritage Site is the largest sand island on Earth and is home to over 40 of the world's perched lakes, which is more than half the global total. The most famous of these is Lake McKenzie, known to the Butchula people as Burangura. Burangura defies logic. Most perched lakes are stained brown by the same tannins that created the coffee rock, known as blackwater lakes. Yet McKenzie is crystal clear, fading into a startling turquoise. This is due to a natural filtration system. The sand surrounding the lake is nearly 100% pure silica. As rainwater runs down the dunes, the silica acts as a microfilter, stripping impurities. The organic matter at the bottom is stable and sealed off, preventing the tea-colored staining. Swimming in Lake McKenzie is essentially like swimming in distilled water. It is oligotrophic, meaning it has almost no nutrients. It is also highly acidic, with a pH often around 4.0 to 4.5, which is similar to tomato juice. This acidity and lack of nutrients mean very few aquatic species can survive here. There are no large fish, no weeds, and no slime. Just pure, soft water that feels like silk on the skin due to the lack of dissolved minerals. Culturally, this place is profound. The name Burungura translates to waters of wisdom. For the Buchula people, it was not traditionally a place for swimming, but for decision-making. The wise ones would gather on the white shores to listen to the messages carried on the breeze. The lake is seen as the eyes of Kagari, the spirit of the island looking back up at the sky. While McKenzie gets the fame, Lake Bumingen holds the record. It is the largest perched lake in the world, covering nearly 200 hectares. Unlike McKenzie, Bumingen is a classic black water lake. Its waters are a deep rusty red, resembling tea or cola. This color comes from the Wallam heathland surrounding it. The tea trees drop, leaves rich in tannins into the water, dyeing it. While it looks murky, the water is pristine. The red hue blocks UV light, creating a cool, dark sanctuary for small, specialized fish species like the honey blue eye, which has evolved to thrive in this acidic, tannin-rich environment. Then there's Lake Birabeen, often called McKenzie's twin. It offers the same blinding white silica sand and crystal clear water, but without the crowds. It demonstrates the fragility of these systems. Situated in a different dune catchment, it relies entirely on the stability of the surrounding vegetation to maintain its water levels. If the dunes shift or the vegetation burns, the lake could vanish. Now, let's travel across the Tasman Sea to the North Island of New Zealand, to the Kai Iwi Lakes. Here lies a trio of crystal gems: Lake Taharoa, Lake Waikare, and Lake Kai Iwi. These lakes are renowned for their staggering clarity and depth. Lake Taharoa is the deepest, plummeting to 37 meters. It is so clear that submerged vegetation grows at depths of 24 meters, deeper than almost anywhere else in the country. The name Kai Iwi translates from Maori as food for the people. Historically, these lakes were vital food baskets. While perched lakes are generally nutrient poor, the Maori harvested eels and freshwater crayfish here. The lakes were also places of healing, where warriors wounded in battle were brought to the shores to recuperate in the pristine waters. Biologically, the Kai Iwi lakes are an evolutionary laboratory. They are home to the dune lake Galaxius, a tiny freshwater fish found nowhere else on Earth. This fish is a landlocked relic. Its ancestors migrated between the sea and freshwater, but as the dunes formed and the lakes became perched and isolated, the fish were trapped. Over thousands of years, they evolved into a distinct species, smaller, and adapted to the specific chemistry of these dune waters. They are a living testament to the isolation of perched ecosystems. Moving to northeast Brazil, the concept of the dune lake is taken to a surreal extreme in the Lençóis Maranhenses National Park. This landscape looks like the Sahara Desert, but it hides a wet secret. These are interdunal lagoons. Unlike the permanent lakes of Australia or New Zealand, these form only during the rainy season from January to June, when torrential tropical rains pour onto the dunes. The water collects in the valleys between the crescent-shaped Perched Dunes, held by an impermeable layer of mud and rock beneath the sand. The most famous are Lagoa Azul and Lagoa Bonita. Between July and September, these lagoons are at their peak, appearing as thousands of turquoise and emerald pools dotting the white sand. But by October, the relentless wind and sun begin to evaporate them, and by December, many have vanished completely. The most mind-bending aspect here is the wolffish. When the lagoons dry up, this fish burrows deep into the mud at the bottom. It enters a state of dormancy called estivation, slowing its metabolism to a near halt. It sleeps in the damp mud beneath the baking hot sand for months. When the rains return and the lagoon fills, the fish wakes up, wriggles out of the mud, and swims again. This cycle of death and resurrection defines the ecology of this system. We also see variations of this phenomenon in the United States, particularly in Florida and Oregon. In South Walton County, Florida, you find coastal dune lakes like Western Lake. However, there is a key difference. These lakes periodically breach the sand berm, separating them from the Gulf of Mexico, creating an outfall that rushes into the sea. This allows salt water to flow back in during high tides, creating a brackish stew where freshwater bass might swim near saltwater mullet. In Oregon, lakes like Clearwater form in deflation plains where wind scours sand down to the water table. These are cooler, deeper, and surrounded by dense coniferous forests, offering a darker atmosphere than their tropical cousins. So how does life survive in the typical perched lake, where water is as acidic as vinegar and has fewer nutrients than tap water? The flora and fauna are specialists. In Australia, we find the acid frogs, such as the Wallam sedge frog. Most frog tadpoles would perish in such acidic water because their gills would burn. But acid frogs have developed a tolerance to the low pH. By breeding in waters that kill their competitors and predators, they have secured a safe nursery. Because the water and surrounding sand lack nitrogen and phosphorus, plants cannot get food from the soil. Instead, they turn to carnivory. The margins of perched lakes are often carpeted in sundews. These tiny plants have sticky tentacles that lure insects, trapping and digesting them to extract the nitrogen the soil cannot provide. Fringing the lakes are dense stands of Leperonia reeds and paperbark tea trees. These are the guardians of the lake. Their roots bind the coffee rock, preventing the saucer from cracking, and their leaves replenish the acidity that keeps the ecosystem free of invasive species. It is a closed loop of life. However, despite their ancient origins, perched dune lakes are incredibly fragile. They are closed systems, meaning whatever goes in, stays in. The biggest immediate threat to lakes like Lake McKenzie is tourism. Every year, thousands of visitors swim in its waters, wearing sunscreen, lotions, and insect repellent. In a normal lake, bacteria or river flow would handle this. In a sterile, acidic, closed perched lake, these chemicals accumulate. They can form a surface sheen that blocks oxygen or alters the pH balance, potentially allowing algae to bloom. This is why visitors are now urged to wash off before jumping in. Climate change poses another massive threat. Recent research on Kagari involved coring the sediment at the bottom of the lakes, revealing a gap in the timeline between 7,500 and 5,500 years ago. This means the lakes dried out during a warmer, drier period. As global temperatures rise today, there is a real risk these lakes could dry up again. Unlike a dam that can be refilled, once the organic coffee rock seal dries out and cracks, the lake might never hold water again. Invasive species also loom large. In New Zealand, the mosquito fish has devastated the native Galaxius population. In Australia, the cane toad is a threat, though interestingly, the acidity of the perched lakes acts as a natural barrier, as cane toad tadpoles cannot survive the low pH. To conclude our journey, we must recognize that perched dune lakes are more than just beautiful swimming holes. They are geological accidents, ecological islands, and cultural sanctuaries. They are a testament to the power of nature to create abundance out of scarcity, turning barren sand and dead leaves into sapphire waters. Whether you are imagining the silence of Burangura, the ephemeral lagoons of Brazil, or the crystal depths of New Zealand, the message is the same: tread lightly. Do not bring chemicals into the water. Respect the reeds that hold the basin together. These lakes are the eyes of the earth, and they are watching how we treat them. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.